You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Welcome everyone. We're jumping into the fast-moving world of product and design thinking today. It feels like it's changing so quickly. It's not just about how things look anymore, right? It's way more about how they think. As a vocal technologist, I'm always watching how those systems under the surface are being put together, and today we're, cutting through some of that complexity.
That's right. And you pull together some amazing material showing where things are heading. I mean, from physical branding changing completely to these sort of invisible AI layers under our apps. So our goal today is really unpacking the big shifts, that tension between shiny visuals and, well, actually being able to use something, and how the designer's job is changing like crazy with generative AI and what actually makes a product work these days.
Okay, yeah, let's dive right in there. That first point, the clash between looks and usability. Maybe we can call it the aesthetic obsession, because we see it everywhere, don't we? High style kind of winning out over basic function, like this liquid glass thing. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it's that really glossy, transparent, sort of refractive look for interfaces. Makes everything look like shiny glass floating there.
Oh, yeah. And everyone wants it. Telegram, for example, they just rolled out their own take on this. And they're pushing it even to devices that aren't running the latest iOS, which is kind of where it started, I think. But the problem is, when you look at Apple's version or others copying it, sure, it can look pretty, but it often seems to prioritize those decorative effects over, basic usability.
Yeah.
How easy it is for a person to actually interact with it.
So what happens then when the spectacle wins out? Because it's not just one company, is it? It feels like an industry thing.
It really does. And it leads to things just getting worse, usability-wise. We're seeing interfaces that are just plain harder to read. You get text over see-through bits or text on text. It's a mess sometimes. And practical things suffer too, like tap targets the buttons, they get smaller.
Yeah.
Key things like search bars get moved from the top, maybe down to the bottom, which feels weird. Or labels disappear. Controls just pop up out of nowhere. It's like designers are adding visual noise that actually hides the content, which, that defeats the whole point, doesn't it?
Totally. It's like having a beautiful car that you can barely drive. And this chase for a certain look, maybe a safe look, it connects to that other idea, the grayscale problem, right? Affecting digital stuff and physical stuff too.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sad convergence, actually. The web seems to be losing its color, its creativity, partly because, all the standardization, the A/B testing, pushing things towards what works okay for everyone. And then AI models, trained on all that kind of average stuff, they just spit out more.
Yeah.
Well, muddy averages was the phrase used. It fits.
And you see it in the real world too, like 80% of new cars in the US are black, white, gray, or silver now. It's like safety and playing it safe wins over any kind of personality.
But the really interesting brands, they're doing the exact opposite. It's like an age of imperfection or something. You read about Patagonia, how they value repaired clothes, or Vans celebrating beat-up sneakers.
Yeah.
Aesop making every store unique, even a bit irregular. And the takeaway there is really strong. Sure, perfection gets admired, but it's the flaws, the imperfections, that actually create that authentic feel, that emotional connection people love.
Right. That desire for clarity, for something useful, not just flashy. It actually links up nicely with branding strategy too. If we're maybe seeking visual safety and grayscale, maybe we're also looking for clarity in names, like Apple dropping the plus sign.
Exactly. Apple TV Plus is now just Apple TV, officially. It's a cleanup, really. Most people probably called it Apple TV anyway. And it simplifies things, sets them up for a unified brand, maybe with new 4K hardware coming. It's all about that seamless, simple ecosystem feel.
Okay. So while the big digital players simplify, you've got Domino's, a brand that's all about physical delivery, doing its first big rebrand in, over 10 years? That must have been tricky.
Oh, for sure. It's a really interesting balancing act, refreshing things but keeping it familiar. So they brightened up the classic red and blue. They got a custom font, Domino Sans, simplified the boxes, the packaging, and even got a new jingle by Shabuzi.
Shabuzi, okay.
Yeah, it was like a whole sensory refresh, trying to feel modern, but still, Domino's. Still nostalgic.
Makes you want to order a pizza just to check out the box and the jingle.
Shifting gears a bit, there was a really nice point in the analysis about how unique physical craft still has value. Like, print isn't dead.
Not at all. In fact, its value might even be increasing because it's rare. That tactile feeling of proper printed stuff, the limited editions, it's special. Small presses, people sharing niche knowledge, they're keeping it alive. It offers a kind of physical and emotional thing that scrolling online just can't match. And you see a similar drive for that kind of deep physical identity in custom fonts, right? Especially with sports teams.
Absolutely. Like New York City FC using type inspired by the subway, or Dallas Trinity FC basing theirs on local landmarks. It's not just decoration. They're building this custom lettering as a way to connect with fans emotionally. It's about heritage, community pride, flexible identity markers that are always there.
That idea of underlying systems and flexible identity, it takes us right to the biggest shift, I think. The designer's new job description, really, moving away from just pushing pixels around and more towards influencing the substrate, the foundation.
Yes, exactly. And it's a massive redefinition of the design profession. One piece had this really provocative stat, almost an extinction warning. It said designers used to control maybe 85% of the user experience through, traditional UI, UX pixels. But now,
Yeah.
powerful AI models might dictate like 95% of that experience through the data they're trained on, the system prompts, the context you feed them, the policy rules.
Wow, so if designers don't learn how to shape that stuff, the policy, the system architecture, they just end up decorating whatever the AI spits out.
That's the risk.
Right.
Precisely. And that's why Alan Kay's idea is so important now. He said the interface itself, not just the raw power of the AI model underneath, is the real differentiator. But the big mistake, the category error we see a lot, is sticking these incredibly powerful AI tools into simple chat boxes. It just limits what users can do. It holds back what should be a really dynamic, sophisticated interaction.
So the answer is generative UI, GenUI. Can you break that down quickly? What does that actually mean for a user?
Yeah, GenUI basically means the interface kind of builds itself around what you need at that moment. It dynamically figures out the best way to show you information or give you controls. The AI's output and the interface itself become one thing. So instead of fixed screens, fixed buttons, the AI gets what you're trying to do and just constructs the tools you need on the fly.
Okay, if that's where we're heading, an interface that changes constantly, what kind of design patterns do we need to even manage that? You mentioned 6 key ones. Which ones are really fundamental to making that user-system relationship work?
Well, the focus really shifts hard towards giving the user control and managing the unpredictability. You absolutely need strong intent capture. The AI has to get good at figuring out what the user really wants to achieve. But the most transformative patterns, I think, are about handling that dynamic output. You must have a robust, undo, or even like a time travel feature, because the dynamic UI will get it wrong sometimes. And you need to be able to easily step back.
Right, like a safety net.
Exactly. And you need harm prevention. Especially for important actions, you need dual control, the AI suggests, but the user confirms or has clear ways to stop things, and things like progressive disclosure to avoid just overwhelming people with information that keeps changing. Give them stable points, stable anchors.
Okay, so those patterns, they're clearly about building confidence, right? Making the user feel safe in this potentially chaotic environment. And speaking of confidence, there was that crucial bit about why people actually adopt Gen AI tools. It's not about how smart the AI seems.
No, not at all. The research is pretty clear. Adoption comes down to the user's feeling of self-efficacy. Do they feel capable, supported, in control? That's what matters, not how sophisticated the AI is.
Yeah.
We tend to use emotional shortcuts, apparently. Like warmth and empathy from the AI can help, especially if the user feels a bit lost. Competence is key too, of course. It needs to work reliably. But the really surprising thing was that perceived intelligence, how smart the AI seems, that doesn't actually boost user confidence.
Huh. So does that mean designers should maybe undersell the AI's power a bit? Like focus more on making it clear, reliable, predictable, rather than having flashy AI generating animations?
That seems to be the practical takeaway, yeah. Make the user feel like they're the master of the tool, not just watching some magic show. And this need for reliability for governance, it's definitely shaping how the tool makers themselves are responding. They're building trust into the systems.
Can you give some examples? How are the tools changing?
Sure, look at Figma. They integrated Google's Gemini and image and form models. And yeah, speed is part of it. They mentioned 50% faster image generation.
Yeah.
But the really critical piece is the enterprise stuff. Admin controls, options to opt out of content training, watermarking so you know where images came from. That's safety, governance built right into the system layer.
And Google's own design tools are doing similar things.
Yeah, their Stitch AI tool now has features like Annotate, where you can give visual context for changes the AI makes. Theme for managing design systems across complex products. Better interactive features for prototyping these dynamic UIs. They're clearly aiming at big teams dealing with these complex shifting systems. Oh, and Canva integrating directly into ChatGPT. It's another big one, letting you design using just natural language.
Right, so all these tools are getting smarter, helping manage the complexity. But it brings us back to the human element. If AI can generate any style, any layout, what's left? What's the uniquely human skill designers bring?
Well, it's not just taste, which people often talk about like it's some magic gift you're born with.
Yeah.
What really separates human creativity from just, optimizing an algorithm is judgment. And judgment isn't magic. It's a skill. It takes time, experience, looking critically, taking feedback, synthesizing it all. That whole process, that effort and reflection, that's what defines what good actually means in a specific context. It's not just finding the average.
Okay, so we've gone from arguing about glossy interfaces versus usability through how brands are finding their identity physically and digitally, and then right down into these deep systems, the AI substrate. And the big theme seems to be the designer's job isn't just pixels anymore. It's about influencing policy, building trust into the system, and making sure humans stay capable, stay in control.
Exactly. And that leads to one final thought, maybe, for everyone listening. The UX butterfly effect. We have to remember that every little design choice, even something seemingly small, like how an app encourages engagement, think TikTok loops, can have huge unintended consequences down the line, affecting mental health, even environmental costs from running massive data centers. So the challenge now, the real design challenge, is using things like systems mapping to try and anticipate those second, third order effects, to make sure the products we build are not just useful, but actually responsible.
That feels like the crucial question for anyone building products now. Are you just decorating the surface? Or are you shaping that deeper substrate and doing it responsibly? Lots to think about there. Thanks for walking us through all that. And thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.
Spoken Tech for your ears.